Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. So glad you joined us on this College World Series weekend. This is the only show in the metro area that talks about business expansion, real estate construction, really anything related to your favorite city becoming more vibrant, more prosperous. All right, we're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center with 4 metro area locations, along with Cheer Athletics. They have 15 world locations, but the one we really care about is at Highway 370 and Highway 50 in Papillion. So it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate deal maker and all-around interesting guy, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Beals.
Oh, good morning to you. Did you make it to either of the College World Series games yesterday?
I went to the after loop, meaning that I just drove around the stadium and I saw the Ferris wheel and saw a lot of the attractions, and it's looking good. Our city's looking nice and clean. They stopped a lot of the construction, which is nice, so got rid of some orange cones.
You know, it's funny you should say that because I kind of did the loop as well. I was out of town yesterday in Kansas City, and I arrived in Omaha just before 9:30, and I thought, I'm going to go downtown and walk around and take in the scene. So parked in the old market and walked through the park, and the second game was just ending as I was walking by the stadium, and quite an active, lively scene.
We welcome all the fans, and LSU fans come no matter what, and they're always so welcome. Everybody's welcome to Omaha, and we appreciate all the thousands of you that are tuning in this morning.
The only problem, though, when the LSU fans come to town, all of the other teams have pretty much no shot of winning the Jell-O shot competition at Rocco's across the street.
Absolutely, and that's just a phenomenon, and whatever amount goes to good causes in the food banks in the different cities, that's a good thing.
Well, it's our time. It's the time for the news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. Whether you stop by the office at 114th and Dodge or interface with them online, Eagle Mortgage does an outstanding job of taking care of you when you're getting ready to buy a house. For most people, buying a house is about the most expensive thing they do, and it's stressful and it's consequential. So you want to have a good lending broker on your side. That's exactly what Eagle Mortgage does. They are not a bank. As a mortgage broker, they get to shop a variety of banks on your behalf. So they'll sit down with you, find out what works best for you, and match you up with a great loan. Doesn't matter whether you're going conventional, FHA, VA, or one of the others, talk to Eagle Mortgage. They'll take good care of you. EagleMortgageCompany.com. Well, Trenton, on Monday, Woodbury Corp will have a groundbreaking ceremony for the Crossroads Mall and Crossroads Development, I should say. It used to be a mall. More specifically, the groundbreaking will be for Gamescape by Cinemark, an entertainment venue, part of the Cinemark Theaters chain. This will be the first occupant of the Crossroads development northwest of 72nd and Dodge. We've talked about that before. Interestingly, though, at that event, Woodbury is going to unveil the new logo and the property branding for the Crossroads. I'm hoping we get to see a new version of that hideous monument sign that is on the corner that most of the lights are not working.
There must be a reason that they leave it in case they can't put it back up. But I agree with you on that. And, it just seems like yesterday that Frank Krejci bought the whole place for like $10 million. Or like 15 years.
It was not yesterday. But as we've well documented on this show, so many different things have happened over those 15 years, different people involved with it, the death of Frank Krejci, the man who had owned it. And so it's been a long ways coming, but a lot of people, both privately and publicly, have worked so hard to get to that point. So it's exciting to see that groundbreaking taking place on Monday. Well, the Nebraska State Office Building downtown at 1313 Farnham Street is officially listed for sale. Now, the Nebraska Department of Administrative Services is responsible for doing that. They had been considering selling it for a while. There was an article that came out in Nebraska Examiner earlier this year talking about it. And in the article, some state senators were quoted saying, hey, is this really a good idea? But the the people from the Administrative Services Department said, this is an area of high interest, and we believe the building could go for a nice price. It is a 180,000 square foot building. It has 400 parking spaces underneath it. Now, I don't want to be critical because I'm sure back in the late 70s, there was an architect who worked very hard on that building and was very proud of his or her work. But I am going to say it is perhaps my most hated building in the city of Omaha.
News at growomaha.com for Jeff Beals.
And here's why. Because, first of all, it's only 3 stories, and it either looks like a prison or a high school. Some would say that's kind of the same thing. At any rate, it's only
News
3 stories.
At growomaha.com.
And here's the real reason why I hate it. In order to build it, they tore down an 18-story building that was constructed in 1912. It was the Woodman of the World building before the Woodman Tower. And upon its construction was the tallest building between Chicago and San Francisco. And we tore it down to build a prison, high school, 3-story state office building. So the only reason you would sell that building likely would be for redevelopment. It is on the streetcar line. It is right across the street from Mutual. So if, and we hope there is someone who wants to put something special there, that would be great news.
I wonder if they can keep those 400 parking stalls. So they're all underground, right?
Yeah, underneath. Well, actually, I take that back. There is parking underneath the building, but it comes with a 400-stall garage across the street. But I've never been underneath the building, but I understand there's quite a bit of parking underneath. But I don't know, how would you tear down a building and save the parking underneath?
You'd like to go vertical, obviously. So they don't need the government offices, they're saying?
No, they do. They would. The plan would be to relocate those state office workers somewhere else in Omaha. Presumably, they would lease space. I mean,
there's plenty of it.
Yeah, there's plenty of space even in the downtown area where the state.
They could make a deal where they get commensurate rent, and they could stay in part of the building that gets rebuilt.
Yeah, that's possible.
Tenants.
Although, where would they go during the construction? Just get temporary space elsewhere downtown?
Hang out in the park.
There are several hundred of them down there, I believe, that work out of the building. So that could be a
big park,
bit of
90
issue.
acres.
But I think folks get ready for more talk like this, because that building, as I mentioned earlier, is on the streetcar line, and the whole reason, or one of the biggest reasons why we're doing that thing, is to enhance real estate development and create more value in the urban core. So that's probably going to be a serious target. We'll see what happens in that area. So speaking of big projects, in Council Bluffs, there has been a project underway that is secret. It is called Project Lola. If you're a regular listener, you know a lot of times when the economic development people are working with a big project, they want to keep things secret for a variety of quite legitimate reasons. Project Lola, planned for Council Bluffs, it is going to be smaller than originally anticipated. The Council Bluffs City Council last year approved a 450,000 square foot data center building that would be 80 feet tall for this Project Lola. That was to be constructed on a little bit of farmland that is between Iowa Western Community College and Interstate 80, south of Canesville Boulevard. Well, now they've downgraded it to 285,000 square feet and 36 feet tall. Still a very substantial building, but not quite as big as it had been. We've been hearing some intel, though, that might be only one of a handful or more of data centers that are actively looking in the Council Bluffs part of the metro area and surrounding parts. So Council Bluffs seems to be in play right now for new data centers.
And I think that's great. And we have relatively inexpensive utilities and ground and city services. They don't employ a ton of employees, but certainly for many years they employ a lot of construction workers.
Next up, there is a nonprofit in Lincoln that is known as The Bay, B-A-Y, The Bay. It's planning an Omaha location in Benson. This is a free or pay-as-you-go services for youth to participate in skateboarding, art, fashion, music. They have workforce training and career exploration services. Down in Lincoln, they're inside a 20,000 square foot warehouse where they have an indoor skate park and community and office space. The Omaha location is going to be an adaptive reuse of a 3-story, 34,000 square foot warehouse in Benson. The exact address is 6120 Military Avenue. The first floor will have an indoor skate park with street skating elements. I don't know what it says, street skating elements and a vert. I don't know what the hell that is, but I bet a vert looks cool.
I think I'm going to avert it.
The second and third floors will feature classrooms, office space, a performance stage, fashion room, sound production studio, and e-sports room. The project site is currently under consideration for rezoning to make this possible. Sounds like a cool thing, and neat to see more and more of these types of things going into areas like Benson.
Pay-as-you-go insurance, medical insurance for the skateboard park.
I am definitely not in charge of that, so I'm sure whoever is has got it under control. And finally, the Military Avenue and Hamilton Street intersection on the near north side is coming alive with development. On the northeast corner, the Papio NRD has started construction on kind of a trailhead entrance to the Beltline Trail, and that's coming along quite nicely. It's supposed to be completed by October of this year. And then across the street, plans call for the redevelopment of the long vacant Johnson Sash and Door building. The exact address is 1412 Military Avenue. That company closed permanently back in 2018 and went before the planning board this week. There will be the structure will be transformed into a mixed-use building with ground floor commercial space and 8 residential units on the second floor. So good to see redevelopment coming to that area.
It seems like the construction, which is not inexpensive these days, hasn't really slowed development. Now, a lot of these projects that are getting TIF and a lot of stuff that are downtown, maybe they benefit from other things, but I'm just glad that the construction and redevelopment continues.
And my guess, a lot of that is kind of a demand thing. If the population is growing like it sure appears lately that it has been. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about how a hottest housing market, and we saw some pretty good population growth in the numbers from 2023 to 2024 that came out earlier this year. You got to put these people somewhere. So it could just be demand driven.
That's for the next segment.
Actually, the next segment is going to be a feature about a new construction project. A new construction project that will be at 22nd and Howard Street. And we're going to interview the developers behind that project, Bryan and Leigh Mueller, who chose to move to Omaha to become real estate developers after living in Boston for a pretty good period of time. You'll find this a very fascinating discussion about what draws entrepreneurs to Omaha and about a specific project in the urban core as well. So stay with us. That is the next interview project after this news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Going to take our first break. And when we do, you're going to enjoy that conversation. Thank you to our sponsors. They are Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center. And we'll be back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Jeff Beals here sitting next to Trenton Maggot. It is Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics. Let's say you are down at the College World Series and the parking in your area is very scarce. It is very tight and there's one spot and you look at it and you think, I don't know, it's awfully narrow, but you squeeze and wiggle your car in there. You come back from the game and someone door dinged you. No problem. Just go to Dingman's Collision Center. They will take care of you. They're used to this sort of thing. It's what they do, and there's nobody in town that does it better. Well, we want to introduce you today to a couple that is making a splash in the Omaha area. In fact, at her final State of the City address, Mayor Stothert mentioned them as a couple of entrepreneurs who moved from Boston in 2018 to Omaha because there was a lot of real estate development opportunity here, and they are getting really active building here in Omaha. I want to introduce you to Bryan and Leigh Mueller. Bryan and Leigh, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you guys for having us. Appreciate it.
I'm excited to be here.
Well, you guys have a great story. You are, if I remember correctly, New York natives?
Boston.
So grew up on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So we moved here about 7 years ago. I grew up in New Jersey, actually.
Okay. And you were Long Island, Leigh?
Yes, I was Long Island. Yeah.
Okay. And you guys went to school in Philadelphia.
We did, yep. We went to St. Joseph's University in Philly, and that's kind of where we met.
Okay. And then first job after Philadelphia, if I remember from our conversation a few months ago. Wasn't that in New York? Did you go to New York?
Well, first job, moved back up from Philadelphia into New York, New Jersey area, and we actually, entrepreneurs at heart, we opened a bakery. Was the first gig outside of
You
college.
pick all the easy vocations.
Oh my gosh, time to make the donuts. We were up early, in there late.
Sweet venture, though. That's
It
cool.
was.
Yeah.
That was a great commercial. It's time to make the donuts.
Yes.
So you got out of the bakery business, and then what happened?
Yeah, baking was not our calling.
Then you slept in.
Yeah, exactly. So, entrepreneurs at heart, we ended up moving up to Boston at that time after the bakery, where we joined the corporate ranks. So I joined a software company out of Cambridge.
I was at Mass General, so I did development for major gifts. And, it was having a corporate job was obviously more stable than the bakery and kind of owning your own business. And it really wasn't until we started to have a family. We loved both of our careers, but we kind of took a step back and said, I don't think this is our path. This might not be the right path for us.
So at that time, we were starting a family. So we sat down and we said, how do we architect our life? And as we started doing research, that's what brought us out here to Omaha.
And we kind of, the way we look at life, we ask ourselves, there are three really big questions and three major questions that we feel you need to answer to have this fulfilling, happy life, right? It's going to be who you spend your time with, what you do, and then where you live, your location. And again, that's kind of one of the reasons why we took a step back to say, where do we want to live? Where do we want to start our family?
And weather was like number 8 or 9. And
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
It was probably 10.
well, you're used to these codes.
We're used to the seasons, but I have to say it gets a little bit colder, a little bit different type of wind chill out here.
When you're in mid-continent, the summers are hotter, the winters are colder, and the wind blows harder.
100%. Yes.
So we're talking with Bryan and Leigh Mueller, and so Trenton's asked you before the show. He said, "Okay, you were in Boston. What'd you throw a dart at a map? But how did you guys settle on Omaha as your new destination?"
Yeah, it's a great question because we get that a lot from individuals when we said, hey, we're moving out to Omaha, Nebraska. I think we started to do some research about how we wanted to architect our life, and real estate was one of those things that we wanted to invest in and wanted to do. So as we did research of stable economies, the pace of life we wanted, the barriers to entry to be able to do it.
Cost of living.
Omaha kept coming up in those top 10, top 20 list. Now, family is also very important to us. So I had a brother who moved out here about 20, 25 years ago. So that kind of sealed the deal for us.
Had you visited very much over the years?
I visited probably
Twice.
only a handful of times. Yeah, 2 to 3 times. Came out here, helped power wash his fence and things along those lines. And even he got married out here at the Jocelyn Museum. And just to see the difference in 20 years ago from where we are now is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and so you guys got started in development and owned some multifamily buildings, but now you're getting ready to break ground on a building called the Mueller after your last name. And this is going to be at 22nd and Howard Street. Talk to us a little bit about this project and what it'll be like and, I don't know, what it'll look like when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, we're not career developers, but we certainly are interested in the future of Omaha. Again, we've only been here for about 6-7 years now, and it's a city we have kind of both loved or grown to love for sure. And we want it to be a city as we look to the future of what Omaha could be, a city that our kids will not only grow up in, but wherever their life might take them, they will either stay or want to come back to. So when we kind of had the opportunity to physically develop. Like you mentioned, we were in real estate a little bit before we, were developers. We property managed some other buildings. We saw this as an opportunity to create thoughtful density in the urban core. And this building it's about 38 units. What it does for the city is, as far as density, density, as we all know, it equates to
Vibrancy. Like you guys talk about all the time.
It creates culture. It creates safety. And what it does is it allows us to grow Omaha not only bigger, but it allows it to grow smarter.
And it also consolidates services, utilities, and all that kind of stuff, so that it's less cost than spreading out west.
Yeah, I think it's a classic infill project. So it's a community right there that New Style has built up a vibrant area, and this location was underutilized, single-family home that we saw an opportunity to continue what they've started to build out there. And I think we're at a crossroads here, right? We can build a lot of building on the fringe and going out, or we can build in and really create that urban density and strengthen the core. I think that's a key aspect to what we want to help do within Omaha.
I just want to make sure you guys are spending enough time together.
I mean, we work and live together. I'm not sure it's enough time.
Well, I think we checked that first box of the question of like who you partner with.
Happy
right?
wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is our motto.
Smart. Brian's a smart guy.
Yes.
So this building will be 4 stories plus a level of underground parking?
Correct. 4 over 1, so it's a podium. So that parking underneath was a big decision for us.
It's expensive, isn't it?
Very expensive. Yep. So it's not a lot of units, but when we look at the trajectory of where we see Omaha going, we think that's going to be an asset long term. And as we talk to the community and individuals in that area, we were sitting at the planning board one time and someone leaned over and said, hey, I took a look at your project and like appreciate that parking that you put in there. I think it's an important aspect, but it is something that, as you go through value engineering, people are like, how about we get rid of this parking lot on the bottom here?
Yeah,
because you don't have to have parking in downtown service, right?
Correct.
No, we did rezone it to CBD, so we wouldn't have to have that requirement for parking. But it certainly was a pretty large decision, and one of the lessons that we learned as far as scalability and the economics of that sweet spot of the number of units. Again, this is only 38, but when you get past that as far as 60 to 100, that economics of having the cost of that garage gets spread out over the units more economically for sure. So this is a challenge.
And this, Leigh, where this building is going up, 22nd and Howard Street, that area has seen a lot of renewal in recent years. In fact, just maybe not even a year ago, the Flats on Howard, a pretty big project, wrapped up. Several years before that, all the other historical buildings in that area were redone. And so it's right there. It's right there, and you're putting this on a really small piece of land.
This is postage stamp development. I think one of the things that is key to us is how do you build on that, in Omaha and create those kind of small, mid-size kind of areas. But to your point, New Style has really built up that area, and I think we want to continue that legacy. Their kind of thought there is like work hard, play hard, and part of our building is going to be like co-working space. So if you're living there, you can go down to a work pod or something along those lines. Or if you're Creighton student, you can go somewhere and study. So the constructability on the postage stamp is really small, but I think it's something we need to get really good at here in Omaha to be able to continue that density in the urban core, especially as we have these economic engines like the streetcar come. We need to see more development like this along the line.
Yeah, I mean, this project certainly is a good opportunity to say that urban infill can happen in Omaha, not just in the bigger cities like Boston and New York and Denver.
Well, we're going to have Bryan and Leigh Mueller stay with us over the break, if they don't mind. And we'll ask them, maybe 2 more questions when we come back on the other side. Plus, we'll have the Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics. If you were looking for the perfect way for your kid to get involved in competition, a program that will make them a better person and more confident and ultimately more successful in life, just go to Cheer Athletics. It is outstanding. And you can find out more about that organization by going to caomaha.com. It's time for our Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight, in which we talk about development in or around a Noddle Company's project. And we are very, very proud to have Noddle Companies on board. I mean, they have done so much here in Omaha, whether, it's so many shopping centers over the years, office buildings like the Valmont Global Headquarters, the HDR Global Headquarters, and of course, their places. They are spaces and places makers. Our Xarban Village, Builders District, so many places that we love to go to are Noddle Companies projects. You can find out more about Noddle Companies by going to Easy enough, nautilcompanies.com. Well, we're going to talk about the Builders District area today in this report. There is an event going on in that district called the College World Series, and that's off to a great start. If you want to read about it, we have our man Cole Young, who is there in the stadium for every game, and he is doing a daily recap of what happens. You can see that on growomaha.com and then going to sports when you get to growomaha.com. But we want to talk about something that happened this week just to the west of the Builders District, and that is where Creighton University broke ground for its brand new baseball practice facility. At the same time, they also celebrated, they called it a groundbreaking for the softball stadium as well, but the softball stadium's almost done.
It looked done last night. It was all lit up.
Yeah, it's getting close. It opens officially this fall. So it was more of a groundbreaking for the baseball stadium and a celebration of the softball thing. But
it was the sod laying.
The baseball practice facility is being, the field dimensions are exactly the same as Charles Schwab Field, because in addition to serving as Creighton's practice facility, it will be the College World Series practice facility. Very, very nice stuff. If you want to go over and take a look at what this is all like, just go on Cumming Street right at about 20th is where you can see this. There's also a sophomore residence hall under construction in that same area. And that is your Nautil Companies Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week, nautilcompanies.com. We have some guests with us today, Leigh and Bryan Mueller. They are developers of a call it a 5-level building right around 22nd and Howard Street. And want to ask you guys in the time we have left, first of all, your building is in the streetcar zone of influence. Tell us a little bit about what role the future streetcar had in you guys deciding to do this project and what the project looks like.
Yeah, so the streetcar itself is about, less than a block away from the current building. And what the streetcar we felt was extremely compelling. The idea of transit and walkability brought to the city of Omaha is what creates the density of an urban fill project like the one we're currently building. And the urban fill density of Omaha is what's going to keep it competitive with other cities. I mean, we definitely need these infill projects here to create a city that, again, our kids one day will want to come back to or stay in.
So when we first saw the land, we didn't actually know the streetcar was going there. So we walked it, we looked at it. As soon as we knew that was happening, we knew it was a no-brainer to invest in that area. When I think of the streetcar, it's an investment. There'll be some price of progress there, but it'll be it's a decision and it's an investment that our future generations will sit in the shade of in order for us to keep up with neighboring cities and peer cities to be able to really keep our kids and everything along those lines here, reduce brain drain, so on and so forth. So major benefit for our project, and I think we need these projects across and up and down that line that's coming in.
So besides a big grocery store downtown, which when we started this show almost, 21 and a half years ago, we always said we need a grocery store downtown. Besides that, with all your travels and being in larger cities, besides more traffic and the chaos of larger cities, what do you see that Omaha needs? If you talked about things, oh God, I wish it had this or that.
I think. Did you want to go ahead?
No, it needs more urban fill density. I mean, we need a city that is walkable. We need a city that has more humans in it, that allows people to feel safe and can get from one place to another, potentially without a car. I mean, right now, again, we do have some parking in the bottom of our building. It's certainly after communication with our neighbors and what the community needs. It is something that was a must, but with the streetcar being within its close vicinity, we feel like projects like this will only allow Omaha, as far as the next chapter of Omaha, to continue.
Yeah. And I think the grocery store is number one, right? You need to have that grocery store. I think people are more and more likely to order their groceries, have them delivered, everything along those lines, and kind of reduces that. But I think we need the transportation. We need the right zoning from city planning and things along those lines to match the streetcar to make sure we have development there. That's things like TIF and so on and so forth that allow us to be able to do it. I think we have a vibrant city. It's where I consider it early innings for Omaha on where we are. We have arts that punch above its weight as it relates to the city. We have great, vibrance, the walkability. Grocery stores, great restaurant scene. We have some family going back to Boston right now, and man, we are talking about all the restaurants they should be going to. I think we have a great restaurant scene. I would love to see a little bit more of that there as well. And then I just think we need the community to invest in the urban core. I think we need people to patron the restaurants that we have down there, the different theaters and so on and so forth. But grocery stores are number one probably to get down there.
Just one more minute with Bryan and Leigh Mueller, who are developing the Mueller, a 5-level building at 22nd and Howard Street. Guys, as you look into the future, you just told us something you'd like to see or need in the urban core. When you look in the future 10 years from now, your building will have been open for quite some time at that point. What does the urban core in Omaha look like? What do you envision?
I envision a place, similar to where we've come from as well, but also different, where people are walking to grocery stores. People are using the transit system and being able to get from one place to another quickly and safely. And more importantly, we kind of envision a city that is exciting and has a high energy level and a young energy level. We want to build Omaha for its next chapter. We want to build the next generation of Omaha. And the streetcar and, again, the grocery stores and urban infill like this is only the tipping point to what will bring us there.
Bryan, anything to add? Or is there...
I think she nailed it. I think we need to continue to innovate. We need to make sure that we have these additional infill properties. I think there isn't a better city that I can think of in the U.S. that's built for a streetcar, with opportunities to develop along it, with a housing crisis. We have 13 renters for every open unit right now. We need to have the development community come into the urban core and really build out that infrastructure. You all had some individuals on the show a couple days ago about infrastructure, right? As you go out on the fringes, you don't have the sewers. You have to build in. You have to build up in the city. And I think we need to see more development, and we need to really invest in that innovation there.
Well, Bryan and Leigh, we appreciate you guys joining us, and more importantly, we appreciate the contributions you're making to Omaha. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
That is Leigh and Bryan Mueller, and we are going to take our final break of the hour. And when we come back, it'll be your Perkins Kreitzer Construction lightning round, in which we have a lot of things really fast. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. It's your Perkins Kreitzer Construction lightning round. A lot of things on the list today. Thank you to Perkins Kreitzer, though, for making it possible. They are a top-notch, outstanding A-plus Class A general contractor based right here in Omaha, doing work all over eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. And if you are looking at building a building, give Perkins Kreitzer Construction a call. It doesn't matter whether you're doing an interior build-out, building a brand new shopping center or an apartment building or an office building. They handle all of that stuff for you. You want Perkins Kreitzer Construction on your side. Dave Kreitzer runs the place. Trent and I have had a chance to get to know him really well over the years, and we're so impressed with his leadership and everything his company does. Good projects on time that look awesome. Perkins Kreitzer Construction, P-C construction.com. All right, we got 3 new businesses coming to 180th and West Maple Road Shopping Center that's under construction, northeast corner. They are Cross Strain Brewing, which is going to have a food and beverage concept there, a nail salon, and Smoothie King from New Orleans, where you used to live, Trenton.
Yeah, I used to go to it.
All right, Bora Bora Juice plans to open its first Nebraska franchise, and one of the very first in the United States, June 17th, southeast corner, 132nd and West Maple Road in the Eagle Run Plaza.
A different kind of smoothie.
A different kind of smoothie, yeah. Now here's a completely different type of food, coffee. Primary Coffee Company soft opened this week at 10695 Portal Road in La Vista. They're next to Reality Church, which actually launched the concept. It's an independently run coffee shop that serves coffee exclusively from local roaster Archetype Coffee.
They should have a coffee place and a pickleball thing.
Maza Middle Eastern Cuisine will
Not enough of them.
Maza Middle Eastern Cuisine soft opened yesterday in the former Sofra Kitchen space in Midtown Crossing. As the name would indicate, Mediterranean and Middle Eastern food. Roll 'em Up Taquitos will open its first Nebraska or Iowa location in the Southport West area of La Vista between Charred and Dirty Dough. That's coming very soon. This is a California-based franchise launched in 2019. And then we have Qdoba Mexican Eats, a much bigger franchise. They plan to open an Elkhorn area location on July 7th in the former Oklahoma Joe's barbecue space, 204th Street, south of Pacific. And then the Spice and Tea Exchange is going to do an official ribbon cutting and grand opening next Friday, June 20th in Village Point Shopping Center. Leigh and Lavender, a women's fashion boutique, plans to open in mid-July at Regency Court. It's now called Regency Shopping Mall. About a 4,000 square foot store. It occupies the former White House Black Market space next to Lululemon and Anthropologie. This organization, Leigh and Lavender, is based in Fargo, North Dakota, and they have 6 existing locations in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. Sephora, a national makeup and beauty store, is renovating the former Eddie Bauer space at One Pacific Place. They had their grand opening just yesterday, 5,300 square foot space, second of its kind in Omaha in that it is a freestanding, standalone Sephora. The others in town are all part of Kohl's department store inside the Kohl's. And this is an odd story. BT Party Cove, private event venue in downtown Springfield, closed just a few days after opening.
Grand opening? Grand closing.
They opened June 6th and they closed June 11th. So don't know why, but that's odd.
I wonder if there's a partnership squabble or landlord squabble or something.
Sometimes personal problems or anything else could be there. It's definitely hard to know what would cause that. And then on the national level, Michaels has acquired Joann's private label brands and intellectual property. Don't know what their plans are for the brick and mortar stores, but there was one in 132nd and Center in Omaha. Music's playing, which means we're done. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, which is brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.